Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I'm a DIY nail enthusiast who likes to try all different kinds of nail art and techniques and share it with you all. I am so glad I decided to film this mani because it might be my favorite dip powder ombre I have ever done. In today's video, I'll share tips and tricks on blending colors together for a seamless ombre. I chose 3 colors from the Harvest Solids bundle from Designer Dips. I have Forbidden, Candied Yams, and Gourd Vibes Only. And I really love these colors because they are similar, but they're different enough to where you can see a difference when you ombre together. And they just complement each other so well that I get like fall sunset vibes with this ombre. I'm going to go ahead and pour my dip powders into my Chaos Gemeralds by Chaos Concepts just to make it a little bit easier to ombre and contain the mess a little bit more. Ombres go fairly quickly, especially when you're working with dip liquids, so it's always best to prepare everything, get everything ready before you start your ombre, and that way you're not scrambling while you're racing against the clock of your dip base drying on you. So I've got Forbidden, Candied Yams, and then this last color is Gourd Vibes Only. It's such a great mustard yellow. I am so glad I picked these colors because they scream like fall and Thanksgiving to me, and I just love the way they all look together. So I'm just going ahead and leveling out the powder by shaking my Chaos Gemerald. And for the ombre, it's just going to be easier to use 3 separate eyeshadow brushes. These are all from Wet n Wild that I just get off of Amazon. They're fairly inexpensive, so I highly recommend these brushes for ombres. And I'm also going to use my precision tool from Designer Dips, which is going to be what I use to clean up around my cuticle area and sidewalls. I'm using my Designer Dips dip liquid, starting with my dip base, which is the glue, which is what my dip powder is going to adhere to. So I'm applying a thin, even layer of that dip base to my entire nail. This is a bit of a quicker dry, so I do need to move a little bit faster. Once I have that on my nail, I'm going to start with my first color at my cuticle area. So I have my thumb pointed a little bit downwards. I'm dipping my eyeshadow brush into Forbidden, and I'm tapping at my cuticle area, and I have my finger pointed downwards. That way the powder will kind of fade and cascade towards that third of my nail. I don't want to go too far down. I want to keep them about thirds. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to turn my finger upside down, tap off the excess powder, and then I'm going to go in with Candied Yams, dip my eyeshadow brush into the powder, and then tap it onto about the third of my nail. I'm going to let it overlap with Forbidden, but I don't want to do my entire nail because that free edge area is going to be Gourd Vibes Only. So I turned my finger upside down, tapped off the excess powder, and now I'm doing the same thing for the last third of my nail, and I'm letting the colors overlap in case there's any spots that I missed with the color. It'll be filled in with the next color. Always make sure that you're turning your finger upside down to tap off the excess powder and not downwards, because you don't want the excess powder to fall into the wet dip base that doesn't have that next color on. So I'm taking my precision tool, cleaning up around my cuticle area and sidewalls, removing any excess product. So I'm doing the same thing for my index finger as well, applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. And then once I've got that covered, I'm going to point my finger a little bit downwards. It doesn't have to be like 90-degree angle downwards, but just a little slant so that the dip powder kind of fades down towards that middle. So you want to start when you're tapping at your cuticle area, like above your nail, so that it kind of starts fading. You want the most amount of powder at your cuticle area and then a fade towards that middle. Flip your finger upside down, tap off the excess powder, and then do the same thing where your finger's a little bit downwards and tap in your second color. You let your colors overlap, and that way they blend a little bit better. Flip your finger upside down, tap off the excess powder, and then do the same with your third color at your free edge area. And the other thing I'll say about making sure you're tapping off the excess powder in between your colors is because if you don't, you'll get the one color into the next color and you'll start contaminating your powders. It's only a little bit, so it shouldn't impact your color that much, but you will get some fallout, but you just want to be cognizant of, you don't want too much of your dip powders mixing together. I'm only going to show you 3 fingers because it does get a little bit repetitive, but I want to make sure that you can see my process really well. So I'm going to let you watch me do my middle finger, and then I'll hop back on and we'll do a second layer together. After I finished with all 5 fingers, I dusted off the excess powder, and now I'm going in with layer 2. For my second layer, I'm going to reverse the order of the colors for my dip powder ombre, and that's going to help the colors blend a little more seamlessly. So I'm applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. If I missed any spots with my first layer, I want to make sure that I'm getting it covered with my second layer. And there are some bare spots because my peel base did make my dip base dry a little bit quicker. So I just want to make sure that I have it fully covered. And then since I'm reversing the order, I'm starting with Gourd Vibes Only at my free edge. This time I have my finger pointed a little bit upwards, and that way the dip powder is falling and fading towards the middle of my nail. I'm just dipping into Gourd Vibes Only, tapping it onto my free edge, letting it blend. I'm overlapping my second color a little bit. I'm tapping off the excess powder, and then I'm going in with candied yams, applying that to the middle third of my nail, letting that overlap Gourd Vibes Only, and overlapping a little bit where I had the forbidden. So I'm going to tap that on, tap off the excess powder, and then the last third of my nail at my cuticle area, I'm tapping in forbidden, letting those colors overlap. The overlapping of the dip powder really does help with that blend. I don't even have to do like any scrubbing of the colors because I just think they blend together really well with the process that I'm using. So I'm making sure to clean up around my cuticle area and sidewalls to remove any excess product. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on my index finger. So I'm applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail, making sure I have everything covered, especially because there are some bare spots because of my peel base. If you're newer to ombres, you may want to consider a slower drying dip base, and that may make it a little bit easier because you're less rushed. But this is real time, so you can see that I have plenty of time to do my ombre, but that's also taking into consideration I've been dipping for like 5 years now. So I'm starting with Gourd Vibes Only at my free edge. I have my index finger pointed a little bit upwards. I'm dipping my eyeshadow brush into Gourd Vibes Only and tapping at my free edge, overlapping where I have candied yams, tapping off the excess powder, and then going in with candied yams, letting that overlap where I tapped in Gourd Vibes Only and overlapping where I'm going to have forbidden as well. Tap off the excess powder, and then I'm going to go in with forbidden and tap that on to the rest of the wet dip base, overlapping not Gourd Vibes Only, candied yams. A couple of other things I wanted to mention to make it easier to ombre is you see me moving my finger from side to side. Make sure you're moving your finger to make sure that you're getting your sidewalls and you're getting powder on your entire nail. And then when you're doing your ombre, make sure that you're overlapping colors. So when I'm doing my second layer, I'm not just going over in the spot where I have that one color from my first layer. I'm kind of overlapping the other colors as well. That helps with the blend. And the last thing I'll say is distance of your tap ombre does matter as well. The closer it is to your nail, the more precise area you're going to be, but it's going to be a little more stark. But the further away, the more it's going to spread and be a little more faded. I decided to do a third layer just to get a better blend, and these dip powders are thin enough where I don't have bulky nails even with 3 layers. So for every layer that you do, you're always going to reverse the order of the colors that you ombre in. So since for my second layer I started with Gourd Vibes only, I'm now going to go back to what I did in the first layer, and I'm going to start with Forbidden at my cuticle area. So always make sure that you're reversing the order of your dip powders for each layer. So if you do a fourth layer, you would start with Gourd Vibe only. Fifth layer, you would start with Forbidden. Not that I suggest you do 5 layers, but hopefully you get the point. I am so happy with the way this blend is looking, and I'm glad I decided to do a third layer of the ombre. But because I have 3 layers on, I'm going to go ahead and skip capping my nails in clear because I don't want to risk my nails being too bulky. So I'm going ahead and activating my nails. I want to apply a generous amount of activator to ensure that it's penetrating through all 3 layers of dip powder to harden everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and file and buff off camera. So here's how my mani's looking after a quick file and buff, and I am obsessed. And I was so tempted to just leave it as is, no top coat, no anything. But as I was going through my stash, I came across these sunflower stickers from We Love Glitter Designs, and I immediately knew I had to use them because I thought they would pair so well with this design. And they're only going to be like a little bit of accent, just for a little bit of pop. So I'm going to put the sunflower stickers on my thumb and ring finger. And these are kind of like DIY stickers where you assemble them yourselves. So you see you've got the yellow flowers for the sunflower. There's also that sheet of like little gold glitter centers for the center of the sunflower. And then there's the green like stem and leaves. So you kind of assemble it yourself. which makes it really fun. So I'm starting with that green using my nail art tweezers, picking up one of those little stems. And the hardest part is getting them off your tweezers and onto your nail. So I'm kind of struggling with it. So the key is just kind of place it on your nail and then use your other finger to press it down. And then you can kind of worry about placement. But once you're happy with the placement, you can press down to ensure that it's sticking to your nail. Always make sure for stickers that it's applied to a clean, dry nail, which I just finished filing buffing, so it is clean and dry. And then I'm going in with the sunflower. I like this sheet because it's got like different designs of sunflowers. So I'm just going in with this bottom design and I'm going to place that on top of the little stem. This is a little bit easier to transfer because it's a little bit bigger. So I'm pressing down there. And then the last thing is that little gold center for the center of the sunflower. I'm just peeling that off the backing and I'll place that on the center and then press down. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my ring finger as well. Once I'm done with my stickers, I'm going to seal them in with a gel top coat. But before I go in with my gel top coat, I need a layer of gel base first. Because my dip powder nails are smooth, if I go straight in with a gel top coat, it's going to peel right off. So the gel base gives something tacky for the gel top coat to adhere to. So I applied the gel base, cured for a full 60 seconds. Now I'm going in with my gel top coat. I like to cap my free edge first and then do the surface of my nails. Once I've got the gel top coat on all my nails, I'm going to give them a full cure for 60 seconds as well. And as always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. This was a previous limited edition scent golden, and unfortunately it's no longer available, but I'm really hoping eventually it gets voted back into the vault because I'm almost out and I love this scent so much. It's like a pineapple margarita type scent. It just smells so good. And of course, I love the label with that little sunflower. It matched my mani, so I had to use it because I love matching my mani to my cuticle oil. If you do plan to do any shopping at Scales of a Mermaid, I have an affiliate code. You can always use code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders and help support me in this channel. So that pretty much wraps up today's video, and here's the final look. I would love to know what you think about this, and drop me a sunflower emoji down below in the comments if you're still here or if this is something you would wear. Also, please consider leaving some height points to give this video a little bit more visibility. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.